The MVD Rewind Collection continues to do the Lord's work with their release of the 1979 historical drama Cheerleaders Wild Weekend. Now, this is a film that I had seen on videotape. I picked this up used somewhere, probably a video store was getting rid of it. And it's just, I love sleazy, trashy 70s drive-in movies. And this is a sleazy, trashy 70s drive-in movie. This stars a couple names you might know. It stars Kristine DeBell, who was in a lot of stuff. She was in Meatballs, and she was in the adult Alice in Wonderland, and she was in just a ton of things in the 70s and 80s. Marilyn, who was in a lot of stuff of that era. Leon Isaac Kennedy, who went on to be in the Penitentiary films not too long after this. And Jason Williams, who starred in Flesh Gordon. He was Flesh Gordon. Directed by Jeff Werner from 1979, as I may have said. Originally, it had a different title, which I think is more appropriate than Cheerleaders Wild Weekend, because you hear Cheerleaders Wild Weekend and you look at that cover and you're like, oh, this looks like a fun 80s movie where cheerleaders go off to the beach and they have fun, and this is a movie about cheerleaders getting kidnapped and held for ransom. My memory of the movie from watching it on tape, which was an old crappy 4x3 dark 80s video transfer, was that the film was really grim. It's actually not as grim as I remember it, thankfully, because I remember my take on it was, it's not the fun movie this makes it look like. It actually is a lot more fun than I remember. So basically, this is a Blu-ray we're talking about. This previously was released by Scorpion Releasing, and I believe just about all the extras are ported over from that. And I don't know if the menus are as well, but the packaging is unique to the MVD Rewind Collection. I'll show you my physical copy later. I love what they do. Presented in 2.0 mono LPCM audio with optional English subtitles. This it's got bosoms in the first 60 seconds of this movie. Soapy and in the shower. This is the kind of movie we're talking about. It is clearly a bunch of 20-somethings playing a bunch of cheerleaders who are all getting together. It's cheerleaders from various competing schools who get together and get on a bus to go to the Sacramento cheerleading competition. They don't like each other. They're taunting each other. They're flashing each other. They're flashing the bus driver. They're flashing a farmer in a truck with his cock in his lap. And I'm talking about a chicken because it was. They don't verbally make that joke in the movie, but you really wish they did. And they're saucy and they're sassy and they're all well out of high school, probably college too. So the story goes something like this. They're on that bus. The bus gets hijacked by a bunch of disgraced former pro football players who want to hold these girls for hostage and get $2 million in ransom so that they can go off and hoop it up somewhere and recover from not being high-paid pro football players anymore. And so Jason Williams being like the head of that team. So the movie is very silly. It's very goofy. The cheerleaders are in peril. They are in their cheerleader outfits. Well, they're out of their cheerleader outfits a lot too, but they're mostly in their cheerleader outfits throughout the film. There's one sequence in the movie where, I don't know if it's at the insistence of the captors or what, but they perform like this impromptu fashion show that becomes like a strip show. There's a sequence with the female captor of the women giving a sudsy bath to another. So it's very much an R-rated, bosom-centric, silly, goofy, nudie movie. There is drama. There are scenes of peril and abuse, but they are far outweighed by just the goofy, silly aspects of the film. And the girls who occasionally seem to be having more fun than they should when they're being held captive by who knows how unpredictable these hostages are. Leon Isaac Kennedy is in this film as a DJ, which apparently he was in real life before that. So he is like the DJ that is the go-between between the police and the captors in sending out messages and getting demands and all this kind of stuff. And overall, it's, it starts off very light, gets a little grim, but the drive-in sleaze and levity just kind of keep it from being like really a grim film. I just still think the title, Cheerleaders Wild Weekend, it sounds like they're instigating and enjoying the wildness, and for the most part, they're really not in this film. So, and it has a surprisingly goofy, winky, upbeat ending. But I love drive-in movies. If you know where I work, you know what I'm talking about. I love drive-in movies, and I love stuff like this. So this is for people who love this. This is for people who remember when you would thrill to watching one of these movies on HBO or Cinemax after dark or something. When you just the thrill of nudity for a young person is in abundance in this film, although not by Kristine DeBell, to point that out. So, bonus features on this. The transfer looks good. Not great, but the transfer looks good. It's probably as good as it's going to look for this really kind of old independent movie like it does. Pretty colorful, not a lot of damage, little lines here and there, but not anything. It doesn't look like an old Something Weird transfer where there are these huge green laser looking lines slashing through the image and splices and all that. And I love Something Weird. It was just, they had what they had to work with back then. They had release prints and things like that for the most part. So this looks, pretty good. Certainly looks a heck of a lot better than my old, and it was, as I said, it was released once before on Blu-ray. So it probably doesn't look a heck of a lot better than the previous Blu-ray. I think this is mostly just bringing something that's out of print back into print, but certainly looks better than the old tape I had. The bonus features, you get the previously released, as I said here, Scorpion extras. I'm sorry, I'm reading my notes. You get a commentary with Jeff Werner, Marilyn Joy, and Gregory McClatchy. You get a commentary with Kristine DeBell, who says a few times she doesn't really remember a lot of the making of this movie, but she talks about her career overall in reaction to watching this film now and where she is in her life now, which is kind of cool. You get an on-camera interview with Kristine DeBell. It's 11 minutes, and that's archival 4:3 standard def, which most of the video stuff on here is. You get an interview with Jason Williams, it's 9 minutes, that's 4:3 standard def. You get an interview with Marilyn Joy, that's 14 minutes, ditto. You get an alternate title card that's, it's 4 minutes, basically the opening of the movie, but it's a different title design and font for Cheerleaders Wild Weekend. It doesn't have the Great American Girl Robbery title, which would have been kind of cool to see too. But if you look online, you can see that ad art from when it was apparently released as that. You get interview with Leah Isaac Kennedy, 27 minutes, where he really gets into his career as a whole and his life as a whole, which is interesting. That's, again, standard def 4:3 archival. You get a photo gallery that's 3 minutes. Photo gallery is kind of lame. It's mostly nudie shots, really well taken, like on the set, nude shots. It's not just frames from the film. It's nudie shots and other stuff, but it's a lot of nudie shots. But they fade in and out like this. Like you barely can register what you're seeing. And I don't quite get the point of that. Usually it's just, it's on camera and then it switches to the next, or it dissolves, or it lets you advance yourself. Maybe they didn't want to be too salacious. Maybe they didn't want to get in trouble by not having permission of whoever is in those shots to put it on there. I don't know, but literally you barely can see them before they fade to black again. Theatrical trailer, 2 minutes. It's way out of sync, at least on my copy. It's way out of sync, which is a shame because it looks like a really fun trailer. The narration is really funny and winky and plays up the salaciousness and the silliness of the film, but it's like way, it's like, should I say it again? It's way out of sync. There are other trailers on this for other MVD or MVD Rewind Collection releases that are of a similar vibe. Cop Killers, which also stars Jason Williams, Joysticks, 1982 Greatest Geek Year Ever, Hail Caesar, Ski Patrol, and LA Wars. And that's all that's on the disc. I'll show you the package. So this is the cover, and this is the cover that was on the VHS when I first rented it. And that it was a photo that maybe it was taken for this film, but to me it looks much more like a early to mid 80s vibe there. So it makes you, it's kind of gives you Cheerleaders Wild Weekend, it'll grab you by the pom-poms. It kind of gives you a false sense of what this is about, but ultimately, tonally, I guess it probably is in the neighborhood of being accurate. What I love about the Rewind Collection is that their covers, the slipcase, emulates the old Media Home Entertainment covers and fake video store stickers. So front and back on that, the slipcase, what does it do? It slips to reveal a version of that without all of the fake stickers on it. And then we crack it open, and the disc itself looks like you're looking down at the face label of a VHS tape, which is cool. And then it comes with a little mini poster of that cover. So I really enjoyed this. It's sleazy, it's salacious, it's disreputable, but hey, so am I. On Blu-ray now from the MVD Rewind Collection is Cheerleaders Wild Weekend.